Hello and welcome to CyberSafe News and Views, another podcast episode, YouTube episode. My name is Lee and I'll be your guide. In today's episode, it's a little bit abbreviated because we got so much response based on our last webinar and podcast, YouTube video, that we're coming back and answering all the additional questions. So our last episode was on replacing your Windows 10 PC. And we got a lot of response from that. And the response was all about great, but devices not included, all my peripherals. What do I do about my display? Can I get an adapter? What about my mouse and keyboard? So let's get started.
Technology is an integral part of our lives. We use it every day, and it extends our access to information through things we can't even see. With technology surrounding us and growing at such a fast rate, knowledge of how to use this resource and stay safe in the meantime is imperative. Welcome to CyberSafe News and Views, where we answer questions and share information to keep you in the know and cyber safe.
All right, we're calling this the evolution of computer connectors. So I'm going to keep it high level. I want you to have pictures in here, so please feel free to pause the episode as we go and look and compare your devices. If you have something else, leave me a comment and I'll come back and answer that, but I really don't think you do. All right. So the first one is mouse and keyboard. I've got an old mouse and keyboard that looks like this. This is called a PS2 connector. So the mouse was green, as you can read, keyboard was purple. Those are ancient. Please don't bother buying an adapter for them. They are not worth keeping. You need to retire these. They came with adapters, USB adapters, way back when for your USB mice to still and keyboard to still connect in. You don't need them. You don't want them. Regular keyboard and mouse nowadays are cheaper than the adapter you'd have to buy. Going on to display ports, yeah, that was right. Going on to display connectors. If you have anything but the smallest of them, the mini here, I would imagine none of you have that, but you might have a DVI connector and you might have a VGA connector. If you have either one of those, you can buy an adapter. Now, monitors are probably on the order of anything from $200 and up, depending on what you do. You're probably not gaming on your PC, so you don't need sub 5 millisecond response times. So your monitors are probably going to hover around $200 to get a good brand name model. Brand names might be anything from, I've recently bought Dell for the office. You could be ViewSonic, many different other ones. Look for the reviews wherever you buy your devices. By the way, we are not sponsored by any of the brands that I'm going to mention today, and I'm going to mention a few. But again, for the office, I bought Dell monitors. They look good, they function well, and Dell's a brand I trust. So if you have a DVI here, mouse little there, DVI, it's fine. You can keep it if that's the only the only display port that monitor has. You can buy an adapter, and I'll show you some of those in a minute. VGA, you can buy an adapter. Now, these two are very old. Probably hasn't been I don't know. I don't want to say that. Not many TVs or monitors have come out with those adapters in probably over 10 years, maybe longer. But you can salvage your monitor and buy an adapter. If you have a HDMI, you have a display port, or if you're on the ultimate cusp of the newest and you have a USB-C device connected into port connected in for your display, you're good to go. Most PCs that you'll buy today on the market are going to have a VGA, an HDMI, a display port, which is a terrible name for a display port, my opinion. Which the display port looks like an HDMI, but one of the corners is squared off. So that's how you can tell. And if you're trying to plug an HDMI into it, you're going to really have a bad day, and vice versa. But that's a display port. One of the corners is squared off, and then you've got the USB-C. All of those are good. You can keep all your display monitors if they have any of these. If you're getting into VGA and DVI, you're probably dealing with a device that's not really high quality, not high resolution. I would probably retire these. I have. And I would get a new device if you can afford the $200, again, approximate, for a new reasonably sized device. You could potentially go cheaper if you're wanting something that's 19 inches or less than what I bought, was probably a 27. Also, if you want a touch screen, all these still apply, but you have additional adapters required for most touchscreens. Those prices are also going to be higher and will vary. All right, next slide. Here we go. Modern mouse and keyboard. So you really want a USB mouse and keyboard. You can buy wired. They're very cheap, generally around $10. You could go with a USB mouse and keyboard that has a little dongle that you plug into your laptop or PC, and then it can communicate wireless, or you could just go straight Bluetooth, and then it connects into your device via Bluetooth. Up to you. Again, we're not paid by any of these sponsors. They're not sponsors, any of these companies, but Logitech is a brand that I have dealt with over the years and really appreciate. I've had other mouse and keyboards before, and inevitably they either fail, they're ultra cheap and they don't survive, or you lose the dongle if you have one of those wireless devices and you can no longer use the device. So Logitech is a really good brand, and I recommend them for all your new mice and keyboards. All right, modern display ports. So we kind of already talked about most of this. You can use your VGA, you can use your DVI. Display ports, USB-C, HDMI, most common on most of your brand new devices. And then USB-C, any device you're going to buy today is going to have a USB-C port. That will allow you to get an adapter, because most of your displays aren't going to come, hey, I'm USB-C. No, they're going to have an HDMI, they're going to have a display port, they're going to have a USB-C, they're going to have one of those two, and then you're going to be able to plug them into a USB-C adapter for your device. So there would be a little extra step required if you go with the USB-C, but it's still well worth it because you can get multiple different ports into that USB-C, and it can handle the amount of traffic you'll be putting on it. And I believe this is lastly, these are the type of USB-C adapters that I like to use. This is Anker. You can get any other brand out there. Anker is a little bit more expensive, but in my opinion, it is a little bit better quality. So these can come in single ports. So the one on the right here, this one is a straight HDMI to USB-C. Probably going to cost you less than $15, $18, maybe less, ordered on Prime Day. But then you can also get adapters like this that have lots of different adapters. Some of them, even if you're dealing with a laptop, will pass power through. You can have an HDMI, you can have a display port in here, other USB ports. You could connect lots of different things here, or even a wired network. So depending on what your need is, it's vast and wide for the adapters here. They're really not that expensive unless you go ultra high end and you start getting, more pass-through power and things like that beyond that. But they're great little adapters. You unplug it, you take your device, and you can be going. You come back, especially if it's a laptop, you drop it on your desk, you plug in that USB-C, and everything just reconnects. So that's really where we were. And from the feedback I got, there were a lot of people dealing with mouse and keyboard issues and display ports that they had no idea would it work. Even some of these adapters are going to have, as I mentioned, PCI, VGA ports, so you can plug into those. It's going to make them a little bit thicker. You're probably going to have to get a dedicated adapter for that if you want to salvage those devices. But again, I would go with higher resolution and larger device so that I can actually see it without squinting as my eyes get older and older. But let me know if you have any comments, feedback. That's all for this one. If I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you need help, further help with this, or you need PC recommendations, we don't sell anything. We give links to Amazon just because I like to do business that way. So if there's anything I can do to help you, please leave us a comment or reach out. I'm Lee with CyberSafe News and Views. Stay cyber safe.